Nityanandam. Hi, this is Ma Nitya Oviananda. Today I wanted to speak to you about a couple things. Inner awakening mainly, which would be about getting a spiritual name and the significance. But I just wanted to have a little segue in here into Ganesha Chaturthi, which is today. Starting actually last night with this beautiful Ganesha. He arrived in the evening, and then it goes on for 10 days because I keep telling you in the Hindu tradition how pretty much almost every day of the year there's a different festival or Brahmotsavam. And so in the ashrams and in the main Bengaluru Adinam, where the Inner Awakening program will be held for you, the major festivals are all taking place there. So this one being Ganesha Chaturthi, in which 10 days are celebrated of the beautiful qualities of Ganesha. And one of my favorite qualities is we have something in common, Ganesha and I, and that is we both like sweets. So it's a very enjoyable day for all of us. So we're hoping that that will be occurring here, having some nice sweets tonight. So what I wanted to speak to you about was, in Inner Awakening, you have another sacred opportunity among all of the other initiations, rituals, different processes that Swamiji puts you through and guides you through. You can request blessings and get a sacred spiritual name from Swamiji. See, a lot of times, typically what happens is when we take sannyas or brahmacharya, Swamiji will give a spiritual name at that time. However, in 2013, I decided to take on my spiritual name even before I took up this lifestyle of sannyas, before I took the vows. I wanted to get a spiritual name at that point. So it was a September Inner Awakening, and I requested my name, my spiritual name. I filled in the paperwork and everything. And as part of the healer's initiation, you can request that. The only requirement is that you legally change it once you return to your country. So I applied for my name and waited, basically, for some time, till however long, how many days it was. And then when I got my spiritual name, I received the certificate, and it said Ma Nitya Oviananda, which means blissfully creative. So I was like, wow, See, Swamiji goes into samadhi, which is a deep, even meditation is not the right word, but he goes into a deep state of samadhi. And usually he'll connect, I believe, with Kalabhairava. I don't actually know for sure, but I know during the sannyas initiation, Kalabhairava enters his being and gives the initiation. So is it the same for the naming part? That I'm not sure. But I do know he goes into a deep samadhi and he looks at the energy in the person and the name will come. So this is the basic, process. Who knows what mystical things are involved? I don't claim to know. But I do know that when he gave that name, when I received the name, Oviananda, Ma Nithya Oviananda, it fits with me because I always was a creative person. However, unfortunately, I suppressed that creativity. I always wanted to be an artist. Since a young age, I would draw and do these kinds of things. But then when it came to going to college, my Purvashram parents were concerned about that career choice. They didn't think that I would be able to make it in the day and age. There was a big stigma around these starving artists, quote unquote. And just general misconceptions about that field because there's lots of, as I know now, powerful ways you can go about something. But I didn't choose that powerfulness. I choose to go the way of confusion then because I wanted to please my parents. And then sort of compromise based on what they were asking me to do and what I thought was a compromise. So I took up something different in college. I took up environmental studies because I love the environment and the earth. I was kind of a nature person. I enjoyed hiking. And environmental issues were a concern for me and important to me. So I thought, well, then they keep pushing to do some kind of science or some computer studies kind of course. So I'll go into this to please them and sort of do something I kind of am interested in. But we know, and let's take this as a lesson, it doesn't work out. If you're passionate about something, just be powerful about it. Be powerful and decide how you can make it happen. That's one thing I did not do, and I realized that. That was my mistake. And so anyhow, so the creativity would come out in different ways then after that. I didn't go to school, and I kind of didn't draw so much or do any painting, and I kind of just gave it up in a way. But in other ways it would come out, like how I kind of put things together in my house, how I decorated things or how I enjoyed doing landscaping, putting the plants or the gardening, doing that. So other different ways it came out. But I always missed that sort of fundamental doing that actual, drawing and painting and putting those ideas down. So when Swamiji gave that name, I was like, wow, how does he know that? And of course, he knows everything. And I never asked him again, like, to give me a deeper meaning. I did ask Kala Bhairava during Akashic reading, but he basically was kind of like, there was something I didn't need to know yet. So it's waiting. The more information's waiting. But in the Hindu tradition, a lot of times Swamiji talks about creativity being a very powerful space of creation. So not just as we think of creativity as being art and painting and drawing, but a powerful space of creation, of moving, shaping, doing something, important or whatever, taking on a task and making things happen, expanding. So these are other aspects now that I'm kind of looking into to see how can I, because the spiritual name is meant to give you that path to enlightenment. It's to be used in a way as a mantra, in a way of connecting with that space. So the space of creativity, how can I make that expand me? What does Swamiji mean by that? Somehow, I think there's multiple meanings here to the name. So I haven't had confirmation from him yet. But I do, enjoy looking at Swamiji's form very much. And I used to handle doing the photos. So picking out the photos, doing a final, edit of those photos, and just really enjoying, picking the best ones and putting them on the website. And I just, enjoy Swamiji's form because he's so graceful and so amazing and beautiful and magnificent. And the way he radiates that energy, I very much just enjoy that as part of it. So being a creative person, I have that in me also to appreciate the divine form, the divine of Swamiji. And so there's many different aspects to this name. And I'm also told that Ovia is actually a Tamil name. It's a Tamil word, which is very interesting because mostly Swamiji is just giving out this full Sanskrit names. So like Sadashiva Priya, Atma Priya, various different combinations of Sanskrit names. And many of the names he used in his own wandering days. But Ovia, it's in Tamil, I think it means something like beautiful painting or beautiful image or picture. So I don't know why he gave me that yet, but it's kind of cool anyhow, because I have a nice mixture of Tamil and Sanskrit in my name. So the importance of the spiritual name is a very beautiful process for you, because you're also dropping your old identity, because we identify with our name. We've went with that name, whatever it might be, since we were kids. And if you were raised in the West, especially in the United States, I don't know, names don't mean so much. Here in India, names mean a lot. There's always a meaning to the name, otherwise it's not really given. And in many other countries it's that way, but in the US I don't remember such an emphasis on what the name means. Here and there people would say, oh, this name means, powerful, or this name means strong. And a lot of times maybe it came from the Irish or the Scottish communities. The names would mean something. But in general, I don't remember it being of importance. And I have no idea what my Purvashram name means. And at this point, it doesn't matter, because whatever identities I'm associating myself with that name, I'm dropping or have dropped already. Because I'm not that person anymore. I'm a new creation happening as we go. Creativity, creation, get it? Swamiji is creating us. He's returning us back to the source, letting us connect with that energy and to see what is going to manifest through us. What manifestation of Sadashiva are we? What are we going to show? What does he want to show through us? So that's all unfolding. And with the spiritual name, we can connect to that space, and allow ourselves to connect with it to move us ahead in our spiritual practice and in our spiritual path. So it's a very beautiful, amazing, and powerful thing, and I urge you all to consider when you come to Inner Awakening to get yourself a spiritual name. And by changing the name, you're committing to that understanding that you have initiation from an enlightened avatar, from a guru. He's now going to be guiding your life, and he has named you, personally named you, and you are one of his own, and you're now connected in such a way, especially with the spiritual healing process. You're connected with him in such a mystical, which is kind of not the really word I want to use, but such a deep spiritual way, a cosmic way. You're totally connected to him. He calls it the spiritual umbilical cord. So to have that name from him, it's a very powerful way to stay connected and to stay strong and to stay on your spiritual seeking path. So anyhow, I urge you to go with the spiritual name and use it as a wonderful gift, a gift from Swamiji. So hope to see you all at Inner Awakening. Go into innerawakening.org and sign up for the next one and find out how many wonderful things can unravel, unwind, and be revealed to you. Thanks again for watching. Nityanandam.